Morgana in week 1 as they do take away the Victor for Dorby, one of the best mid laners you can play right now, especially with Azir being taken out of the mix. His power has not changed at all. And King now looking for their next few picks. They lock in Janna. That's going to be Zero's champion. It's going to be Name once again on Sivir.
And the fact that Name is taking this new identity and role in the King performance, no longer going to the hyper carry of his Jinx and looking more for a utility to empower Insect, to empower Korn, to make plays and to be the carries. I really like the second rotation from King, especially taking away Janna from TCT. I feel like TCT either plays Janna or he plays Annie.
Yeah, and if you can bring almost anything to this comp now. You've got plenty of movement speed. You can get your front line in there. It's just a matter of what you want that front line to be. So we'll see what King select for themselves. They're going to have very common picks for them. I like Zero again on a disengaged style support.
Stand behind
Big QG, yeah, could be a Brom. Going to get locked in for TCT and Shen. QG keeping it very standard in this draft.
So again, both Shen and Braum were changed recently. So the changes to Shen is that his passive is now acting very much like Maokai's passive, where he's going to get more rotations through it depending on his level. It'll ramp up. So evens out his lane phase, gives him a bit more sustain options there. But the big thing is his taunt. When you level the taunt, it requires less energy, so you can get more taunts off during these crazy, hectic fights. And that's where Shen's really been shining. If we think back to Zatai's performance, where he got 2 4-man taunts in a row to win the game.
Yeah, Shen's been very popular so far, so no surprise to see QG take it fairly early. Gragas, Vladimir is actually the response though from King, and that's with Rek'Sai still sitting in the jungle pool, I believe. So Huey did not take his most played jungler. He actually opts for Gragas instead.
It's his... I don't think it's actually his most played. I think Lee Sin still
probably
is. But Rek'Sai is his most statistically relevant.
I feel like this split, it must have been Rek'Sai. Maybe all time it's Lee Sin. But regardless, surprised to see him take Gragas. But QG have finished their draft. Nidalee and Vayne are going to be their last few picks. Swift back on a carry jungler.
Really surprised to actually see the Nidalee come out here. We'll see if he maybe goes towards that Runeglaive build.
Yep, Runeglaive's done this patch, so wouldn't be surprised to see him take it. Can't buy Magus anymore, so unless he wants to go really crazy and build Cinderhulk or Warrior, probably going to be a Runeglaive. We do have the Vlad, remember, that's Insect or Korn's pick. And so is that, actually, given what they're flashing.
The double flex.
I mean, they can do just about whatever they want, but you already explained it, right? The Sivir just wants to enable these big frontliners that need a bit of extra movement speed, that can do massive amounts of damage. It is going to be the Yasuo taken up by King. So Yasuo Vladimir is insane late game.
It's a little bit curious that they decided to have their flex pick, as the last pick through their draft, as opposed to front-loading with it to cause confusion and maybe get more favorable matchups. So kind of curious there. We'll see where everything shakes out. If it will be Insect taking his Yasuo or his Vladimir to that top side. But you are correct. I really like Sivir and synergy with Vlad in particular, just because he needs a tool for flanking. Because if you think about how Vlad's going to engage a fight, if a Vladimir pops Ghost or flashes at you and then attempts to pull, you're just going to back away from him. He needs the on the hunt ultimate to find that flanking so he can get a nice Hemoplague.
Yeah, as long as you can stick on your targets, he's super annoying in the front line or the back line. So cool to see. Again, King seem to draft relatively well in a lot of the games that they win. This is a decent draft strong, although we have popped out of the lobby, so maybe a pick there that we are going to get changed up. But on the surface, what we saw from King there in those picks, even in just the first 4, makes a lot of sense with the comp that they built for themselves.
And it also makes sense with their respective champion pools. Again, kind of the big question mark is Insect, moving from the jungle into the top lane. Yes, there's a lot of champions that overlap there, like Hecarim, things like that. But as the meta starts to shift, as the junglers are trending back towards, as 5.13 is coming over, more Devour-oriented carry junglers, top laners maybe not being as tanky, maybe going more towards the mage style with Ryze, Insect's champion pool has kind of been left up in the air and a big question mark. He's found success on Yasuo, but where does that actually fit in the scheme of meta-reliant picks?
What is the thing about Insect in general is that he just kind of plays whatever he feels like. Good old Insect. Zac back in the day was his thing. I guess he innovated there.
But why not just play Zac?
I don't know. No, Yasuo has certainly been the picks that we've seen a lot of good stuff out of Insect from. And
pulled out a good Rumble, too. That was the surprising thing. We had no idea that Insect could even play Rumble.
I had no idea Insect could even play Rumble.
And he had a great performance on it. He's only had 1 Rumble game. And when you think about... The other thing about King is that they have an incredibly low dragon control rate, probably one of the worst in the league, I think next to Royal Never Gives Up, RNG. And they don't lane swap. And there's a correlation between teams who lane swap and their dragon control, because obviously you're going to sacrifice the first dragon to take the first tower. But this just proves that King, they're not sacrificing any objectives. They just lose flat out in the jungle.
The good games we've seen from King are, strong laning, either keeping it even or getting ahead in some cases. Huey often ganking lanes intelligently with his Rek'Sai, probably being, called around by Zero or Insect. And then as soon as they get ahead, King is so aggressive that they just power through mid-game. So we'll go through the matchups here, and it is going to be Insect on the Vlad versus the Shen. So it's Korn back on Yasuo here.
This new lineup just trips me up every single time. It's going to be Swift versus Huey, Nidalee versus Gragas in that jungle matchup.
Yep, pretty standard stuff. Although Swift kind of bringing an old one back there with Nidalee. Doinby, though, super standard on the Victor. Korn could have some problems there with the Yasuo.
Yeah, I'm actually really curious how Korn's going to take that matchup again. It is a comfort champion for Korn. He's not a stranger to Yasuo, so see how he likes that one.
Yeah, Name back on his comfort pick there. Sivir versus the soft counter Vayne. We've seen a lot of Vayne in the last few weeks, despite the break last week there. And TCT kind of on the new hotness here. It's Braum, who's found his way back into the meta, but Zero back on a classic pick for himself in Janna.
Now, the thing about Braum is he has a really potent level 1 with his Q. Obviously, if you're able to lock someone down there, the CC and the extra magic damage can be absurd and grant a very easy first blood. Problem is Braum tends to teeter out during the lane phase.
He doesn't. You know what? We're going to see if that can happen, as we are going to get ourselves onto the Rift. And welcome back. So we do have our first game between these two teams. QG taking on King here in our third set of the day. Nice to be back for the LPL for us, Garena.
I know. We took a week off while the teams went to Demacia Cup, and that's kind of the other overarching storyline for Xiaogu is they had a bit of a disappointing showing in the Demacia Cup.
Yeah, it's actually surprising to see as far as results go which teams actually placed well in that tournament. And QG, unfortunately for them, did not have the best run, like you've said, despite all the regular season success.
And it's funny because we always use the adjective, like you did earlier, Xiaogu are the new snake of the LPL, this split around, just to kind of insinuate that they're the new kids on the block, but they're showing some impressive starts, impressive runs. But the thing is Snake kind of fizzled out in the playoffs when they were figured out. So now the question is, will Xiaogu fall to a similar fate?
And I guess, still got plenty of the regular season left to play, but teams are starting to think about playoffs now. And kind of like you said with the Demacia Cup, that's almost a playoffs preview in some senses, just because the teams have to play, finally, those best of series, those best of fives, rather than just the best of twos they play in the regular season. That's a big change.
Mm-hmm. That said, we have a pretty standard start so far. You do see that Insect's hiding in the mid lane, so he's just making sure that he doesn't end up in an unfavorable lane swap situation. So by standing in the mid lane, he's standing in the shortest distance between either the bottom side or the top side of the map, so he can correct wherever he wants to match up.
We'll see where he goes. The Swift is going to run himself into the jungle. Korn hanging out in mid lane there as well. And as you can see from QG's side of the map, we've got the dual lane in the bottom half, and King are doing the same. So if this is what King wanted, you have to think it is. They are going to get the standard lanes they're looking for. Although Insect doing a bit of jungling as well, taking the Raptors away.
Actually really curious that TNT and TCT decided to look for the 2v2 on the Braum Vayne matchup. So we talked about how Braum is incredibly potent level 1 with his Q. As soon as everyone is, level 2, level 3, Braum loses a lot of his effectiveness. And Sivir and Janna are just going to free push in. Because Sivir has so much wave control, Janna is able to use her shield pretty much guaranteed offensively as opposed to defensively to absorb damage. It's just going to be really tough trading for TNT here.
You have to think it benefits Insect as well, who does want the standard lane. So he took the Raptors, got level 2. Now he's teleported top lane to his tower, so going to have a slightly reduced cooldown there. And King going to get the standard lanes on with Korn hitting early level 2, able to bully Doinby a bit here.
Keep him shoved in now. Doinby will get a lot of this power back into his lane phase when he itemizes and upgrades his Hex Core, not only taking the evolution point, but also really just a cost-efficient way to clear out the creep wave with his upgraded laser.
Yeah, Korn actually on Doran's shield here in the lane, so respecting some of the auto-attack power they're coming through from the Victor, and things are going to get tough for Yasuo, so he wants to take every advantage he can early.
There you go. You can already see Name and Zero starting to abuse the control that Sivir has. By pushing the way forward, that means that there's less autos in front of her to, what's what I'm looking for, creep score? CS, there we go.
Yep.
Allowing Janna to just tap that E and burn the ricochet.
Yeah, as you can see, Name pushing it down. Swift actually going to show some attention to the bottom side as a result, but a nice ward placed there by King. Can actually just waste a bit of the jungler's time here. Swift's hanging out. I don't know if he's going to get anything done here.
The problem is that there's so many creeps in front of his bot lane that they can't effectively help out with this gank. Likewise, if they tried to walk past that and it didn't pay off, they'd lose that much CS as well as the minion damage just trying to walk into threat range to help with that gank.
Yeah, and Swift realizes has to leave the bottom side, goes to do the Scuttle Crab instead, and Huey now is the one setting up a gank here in the mid lane, looking to try and force something onto Doinby.
And Huey hasn't found a ton of success on Gragas. We talked about, in Champ Select, how Rek'Sai has really been his go-to champion, so see if maybe the week off has given him a revitalized spirit.
Extra Gragas practice. I mean, it's certainly been a champion that he's played, but you're right, it's just not been the same effectiveness as Doinby. Good Duke there of the Tornado. Committing hard to this gank, though, is the old Gragas, as Korn's going to force the wave back, and Doinby will get lulled very far into this. TNT, they're getting low on the bottom side as TCT puts up the shield to shake off some of the damage. Now they'll go back in. Doinby, oh my god, that spear from Swift was good, and Huey's going to be forced away. A good knock-up, though. Keeps it nice and neutral.
Nice knock-up on the hop to make sure that Swift can't find the execution right there. Curious that Doinby was playing so far to the middle of his lane. Tells me that, you know, they were suspecting that the gank was going to be there, trying to bait something out. Otherwise, Doinby would have just immediately played so much farther to Swift's side if he was focused on farming. So, good communication from Xiaogu trying to set up the counter gank.
No first blood just yet. TNT, though. Good terrain usage there by Nami, makes him eat the double bounces of the Boomerang Blade. And like you said, that Sivir matchup here with the Janna Shield helping out, just plugging minions into the turret, actually doing damage to the turret now as well. Ooh, top lane. Insec. Gonna get red buff there by Swift. That's not good news, although the damage is pretty good.
Oh.
Great flash by Insec, jukes the spear as well.
So the cool thing about that was obviously Insec, you could say, oh, he used his pool too early, why didn't he use his pool to dodge the initial spear? What he was trying to do is he was just trying to gap close over into the creeps to use the creeps as a body block against the spear, so Nidalee couldn't find the targetable damage.
Yeah.
Nice flash on the Shen taunt flash.
Almost got the kill there as well. You have to remember Nidalee fairly squishy from the jungle. Since his Swift has gone back, he's got his Trailblazer, has an Atom there as well, so we'll be moving into Runeglaive there, understandably on his Nidalee build. There's Huey, doing a bit of counter to this with actually some help from Zero. Might be a dive now in mid lane.
Yeah, a little bit curious. I don't actually think that this is safe at all.
Well,
no, they're just deep warding together because they saw that Swift had committed to the top side of the map, and so either he's going to be onto the top side or he's going to back and then be just getting to his jungle. So King using that information to place deep vision.
Makes sense. Name back as well, so no reason for Zero to be in the bottom lane. Pickaxe picked up for Sivir. Vamp Scepter up there for TNT. They're moving into their Infinity Edge and Blade of the Ruin King starts respectively.
Not surprising to see Vayne look for her Blade of the Rune King. Now she's going to itemize attack speed because her final hour, when she is at level 6, gives her bonus AD, which effectively can equate to a free BF sword. So the nice thing about Vayne in her final hour is that even if she has the attack speed, she's going to hit harder in flat AD across her lane opponent, at least for the 8 seconds that she's in ult.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the early stage for Braum being good and then sort of teetering up in the middle of the lane while they're getting levels. Does it get better for TNT and TCT as far as maybe hitting level 6, looking for an all-in?
Yeah, well, because obviously Braum's ultimate's going to be a little bit more, versatile in terms of disengage, hard engage. Likewise, the bonus damage that he can apply through his passive, those concussive blows stacks. Whereas John is just going to be a reset machine unless she wants to, get flashy and flash forward Monsoon back.
Certainly seen plenty of Janna plays from Zero in the past, so wouldn't be too surprised as we do see still Farmfest there in the mid lane. Doinby and Korn having fun there with their minions. Very even on creep score though. There's some good harass there from Zero. Going to actually convert into a lot more TNT. Forced to tumble away from that Boomerang Blade.
And you notice how Name, immediately Sivir could have just walked up. He had his W, but he saved it for the auto reset. So he's trying to pull his wave in to force and to freeze and deny TNT as much CS as possible and save that W for the little trades that we saw there.
It's working as well as 20 CS ahead in that bottom lane, so a really strong lead. Good Boomerang as well as TCT going to jump his way in for a bit of a block. Doinby, though, moving over, going to look to take blue buff here, but Huey should take that one for himself. So one of the nice little benefits of having Yasuo in the mid lane.
Unfortunately for TNT, he's really just not posturing very well in this lane. Anytime you're lined up against a wall, it's automatically going to mean a skill shot from your enemy AD carry because it's pretty much a guaranteed hit as you saw TNT catch the front part of that Boomerang right there.
Yeah, Deft was the first person I really noticed constantly doing that to people, and you're right, he just wedged him between the tower and the wall. It's one of the nice reasons that Boomerang Blade in the whole I want to push all the waves automatically works so nicely with Sivir.
Especially because you get him next to that tower and just like a little narrow funnel.
Yeah, and then as you can see, TNT struggling in the lane early on as topside. Insect looking a bit better. Hextech Revolver's being completed, but V has his shield, got a non-magic mantle and the Cinder, so he'll be alright as well as Korn looks in there. Pops the windmill down a bit early. Again, Huey in level 6. They can go for an all-in here.
The nice thing about Yasuo when he's against low mobility skill shot based mages, until Doinby, of course, has his gravitational field, he's pretty much relied to, if Yasuo comes onto him, setting his gravitational field down just so he can't continue the siege, but otherwise it's very difficult to start poking and chipping away at Yasuo with your lasers just because of how he's going to free flow in between the creeps.
Yeah, especially with the Doran shield start there from Korn. So smart stuff all around there as First Blood has not yet been found here in the game. 9 minutes in as Nami, nice spell shield, going to eat a chair there and say thanks TCT for a bit of extra mana, but been a fairly slow farm-oriented laning phase, and you know there's a lead in bottom lane for King, there's a lead in mid lane slightly there for QG, and it's fairly even in the top and jungle. I'm not sure exactly who are favored, but I feel like King, if they wanted the standard lanes, are more than happy to commit to farming the first 10 to 15 minutes.
And it's also kind of the difference about where these two teams are weighted in terms of, you know, elongating the lane phase. So what does it mean for Xiaogu? Well, you look at the hyper carry on their team, it's going to be that Vayne. Obviously, you know, down in CS, not too surprising, especially against the Sivir, but it's not an awful place to be, especially as he takes a lot of poke. But on the other side for King, it's about this Vladimir, the late game Vladimir, and how the Sivir is going to augment Vlad to do his job better, to allow him that flanking ability.
Oh, TNT almost goes down there. Thinking about an all-in, but summoners are up, so probably a little foolish to dive under the tower. But if QG don't react soon, they're going to lose that tower. And Swift, he's in the top lane trying to help V now.
He needs to, because he can't play to the bottom side since TNT is so weak at this point, and likewise King just have so much control over this lane, especially with the pickaxe versus the Vampiric Scepter. This should be the free dragon for King. They need to strike now. Yeah,
might be tower as well here as Name's going to push the wave in. No, pulls off, goes straight to the dragon, so Huey going to start that one up. Nice read there for Oscurin, and Doiby sort of sat in his lane. Corn's going to make sure he doesn't join in, and V nowhere good to ultimate to, so King's going to get themselves the first objective.
And the reason why you're prioritizing Dragon versus the tower here, because you're absolutely right, they could have just collapsed and taken the bottom 2 tower, because you don't want to create that free farm wave for Vayne just to hold the wave and, again, prolong her farming lane phase. And likewise, the Dragon is on a timer. You got to get that going as early as possible so you can look towards that 5th Dragon win condition.
Yeah, you can get the tower pretty much whenever you like at this stage, given how well the lane's going. TNT,
standing gold.
It is standing gold, as TNT joined his way in. Boots, dagger, and that Bilgewater Cutlass, so getting there as far as his build goes. But Nami goes back, buys himself a BF sword, and TNT is going to continue to struggle in this lane.
So now the question is, with the Dragon objective off the map, where are Xiaogu? Are they going to continue to try to elongate this lane phase and provide as much support for TNT as possible? And if so, can King ramp this game up fast enough, start sieging these towers, grouping up? Now the thing about Janna and Sivir is very early on in their draft phase, King already showed their hand. We want to siege towers. We're here to push and ramp the mid game through the global gold of taking these structures. They need to start rotating and doing that now.
Yeah, they've got a nice timing window here. If Name goes down, takes that tower, and Konu now finally getting his first recall in, goes back and picks up most of his static shiv, you have to think, as TCT just gets wrecked there. Name going to pop his ulti. They want first blood. That don't quite go in for it. A little premature maybe on the ultimate, but King, you can tell, showing strength is Huey caught out. Going to get taunted there by V. Doiby's going to join in. Ultimates him away. Body slams through the Baron pit. Insec able to save him. Barrel there for the slow. And it's just enough maybe to keep him alive as B.
Here comes
going
the
to line
taunt.
up another taunt. Insec has to try and do the damage. Huey gets tagged by a spear. Eats the laser there as well. And first blood does go to Nidalee.
He sacrifices himself, gives the first blood over to the jungle. We'll see how Swift impacts the rest of the map with that bonus gold. Does have his rune glaive complete. Don't know. I don't think he was for sure dead right there. I think he was just trying to split up because he didn't want to cost Insec his life if a double taunt could go through, but kind of surprising for Huey to throw in the towel so early.
Yeah, a little bit, but he will go down. King instead, though, will arrest control of the bottom lane tower, collect that gold that they've set up for themselves, and like I was trying to mention earlier before Huey got himself caught in the jungle, there is a nice little move now where Cornu does have his static shiv, and Insect has got his revolver and his cloak.
They're just going to switch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Move the dual lane to the mid, try to push down a tower, and give split pushing presence to your late game carries.
And you'll notice this is kind of the style or the identity that King have set up for themselves. They'll constantly play, I'm going to call it split pushing compositions, where they pick up a Yasuo or they pick up a Twisted Fate, and it's just about playing different pressure points on the map, moving their mid lane or their top laner. It tends to work better when they give the split pushing pressure to Insec versus Korn, but I think they've given it equally to both members. You know, Korn will play a TF game, and then Insec will take the Yasuo game.
And then it makes sense that, you know, Nami and Zero are the ones that usually have pretty consistent early games, play the carries like Sivir that are fairly low econ that can get stuff done early, and just move them around. We've got an Avarice Blade completed now for Sivir as well, so going to get a bit of extra gold as she moves around to his way.
And again, just the importance, that Avarice Blade could have been connected towards the Infinity Edge to get that up on online faster, but you're picking up crit anyway with the Avarice Blade, and likewise you don't need the battle stats of the Infinity Edge. They know that there's no team fight coming up because they've already secured the dragon, so itemizing just to push down towers and to, again, I'm going to be soaking up farm and elongating that lane phase. So that's why we're seeing this itemization come out as opposed to rushing towards that eye edge.
Yep, probably exactly waves coming out as well. This is, I feel like something that that Name started, honestly, was this particular build. It's down the bottom side. TNT trying to get free from, but you're in the wrong place for it. Does tumble out. Stand United going to come in now as well, but he's gotten slowed down. V's here, gets knocked back. Nice flash to keep Vayne safe though, but Swift is going to join in. Yasuo and Victor running down the lane as V wants to line up a taunt, but he's actually not going to get caught out of position. He's forced to flash away for himself. Insect port around the side. He gets condemned into a wall. Look at ult from TCT, keeps him out, but V is taking too much damage. Insect's going to pull on top of him to try and kill him. Chaos Storm down there from Doinby. The heal's out as well. Insect will not live through the damage, and King in a 5v5 are somehow the ones to lose their blood.
That was a beautiful roam from both mid laners. Doinby showing up, showing the power of Victor, especially early game, you know, with the itemization of the Hex Core and the just AoE Venn diagram potential that he had. Great job from TNT and V to prolong that team fight initially, stall long enough for Doinby to get there.
Corn now going to clean out some more. Let's go back to farming there in the mid lane, but King, that was a good opportunity for them to seize. Unfortunately, all it does is sort of reset these lanes and give Vayne a bit more breathing room.
Well, it talks about, you know, how they don't have any hard CC. Look at that team comp. You've got a slow on Vladimir's pool. You have a knock-up from Korn's Tornado. And then you effectively have the cask. That's it. There's no hard lockdown where you're competing against a Braum, a Victor, a Shen.
Yeah, and it's just, you know, that's why they picked this Sivir. They need someone to help everyone else run in.
But it just wasn't enough. Like, that fight was so elongated because they had no way to force Xiaogu to fight them.
Ooh, no dive there. TCT, good block of the Nado, actually, using Unbreakable as Name is trying to get some work done here in the mid lane. Nice spell shield out from the spear there as well.
They need to send Korn bottom.
Yeah, we talked about it. They do need to start swapping people around here. Insect going through Abyssal after his early Hextech Revolver. Going to sit here in the top wave and push out as happily as he likes. But yeah, you're right. Con needs to move from this lane.
They're sending, the reason why he's eating up this wave right here, and he'll probably back after it, although it kind of depends on his purse, I assume that he has a lot of gold, is because Dragon's going to be spawning in 30 seconds. So that's why you saw Name, there Korn goes. So that's why you see them kind of make their rotations, reset their waves back, start setting up and prepping for Dragon.
And there's Berserker Grease on Name, so he'll be fight ready. TNT will as well, actually, as Blade of the Ruined King has been completed, and Insect, he's also going to rush his way back after pushing out a couple more creeps. Get himself to that Dragon. V does have the teleport lead, so he'll get there first if he needs to. King, 10 seconds left to get to the Dragon area.
Korn deciding to itemize second that Hex Stream there.
Korn does this a lot with his Yasuo build, I've noticed. A
lot of respect.
Yeah, I mean, he just sort of does what he wants with his Yasuo build. You know, not going to go for that Trinity Force, not going to go for something a bit more standard like a lifesteal item, and does get that Infinity Edge quite late here. It makes sense, like the item's fine, especially against the likes of Victor in Italy, but Korn is certainly a curious Yasuo player.
Xiaogu are set up to contest this, so we'll see. Swift is level 10, Huey's level 9, has the stronger smite.
I assume Korn has wind wall, but
Got
the Dragon will go down. Doinby actually the one to take that away on Victor. Name's going to pop the ulti, but they've got really no one to chase down, and like you said, lack of hard CC, no Huey's going to try and make it happen. TCT, the one to get ulted there by Korn, but he's just going to win all the CC from Braum. V going to pick up that kill onto Korn. Swift gets Hemo playing his Insect, doing damage, takes out TNT. Now Huey's going to re-engage there. The spear blocked by Name as Doinby just going to get destroyed and get a double kill. It looked good for King, but Doinby's doing too much damage.
And we talked about the power of Xiaogu on blue side, so what's the difference? It's the priority pick. Xiaogu understand who is important to this. He walks into the tower,
Swift
takes the boomerang.
Still going. Name did get the kill onto Doinby, but apart from that was a well-fought fight.
Kind of a wonky Janna ult, in all honesty. Zero standing to the side was looking to kind of heal up his team, really just pushed all of Xiaogu together in a collective little bundle, but it didn't matter because a Victor laser just wiped through King.
Yeah, and I mean, King, like you said, can't really set that much up with this comp. You can see the damage an Insect can do, but they don't have enough lockdown unless Huey and Korn really have those ultimates in sync.
Especially if he's doing it on Braum.
Yeah.
No, like, the Yasuo ult went on one player, the tankiest member in the support.
I think there was a flash. Had something to do with that there, but
behind me.
Couldn't get a knock up there as Braum able to save the day there on that little fight. QG now leading 5-2 up in kills and now up in gold. It's only 1,000, but King, who had such a good start to this game, have not been able to get control.
And that's unfortunate because King really only have one method that they've shown of winning, and it's to snowball their early game. So the average gold lead when King win at 20 minutes is the highest in the LPL, and it's 3K. No other team, when they win, has a higher gold lead that King has been able to average. But if they don't get it, they just automatically lose.
Well,
it's just done.
Almost 19 minutes in, and they're a K behind, so that stat means bad news for King fans.
Bad news bears.
He's going to, with his Sunfire Cape and his Spectre Scar, shaking off a lot of this early Insect damage. You can see V not really that worried about Insect at this point. He's got Ninja Tabi. He's like, yeah, whatever. Do Vladimir things.
It's also very important that Korn finally found his way down to that mid lane.
Ooh, Insect eats a taunt there. Huey up here as well. Zero also going to join in. That tower will go down, and you're right, Korn, who was briefly down in the bottom lane, but now returning to the mid to help challenge the victor. You said it already, King, with this comp especially, can look to split push, but it's just not been something they've been able to start just yet.
And I think it goes back to kind of how uncoordinated they look in team fights. We saw that in the last one where Xiaogu just kind of ran through King. Yeah, it is a pick issue that Victor is just doing so much damage. And my God.
He flashed over the wall, takes out Name. Right on cue there for Victor.
The threat of Victor over walls, I don't even think he needed to flash. I think he did it for the length of the laser and to make sure that he could follow better with the Chaos Storm. But obviously the power of Victor as well. When he stands over walls, you'll constantly see this. They'll put wards over the corners like that, which is why it's a good place that enemy mid laners will also set their pinks to make sure that vision doesn't get placed there. And Victor will just stand in that bush, wait for you to walk by, and just drop all of his abilities over that wall.
Yeah, you get a pretty easy kill there onto Name as TNT. He's the real beneficiary of all this other action on the map because his lane started horribly. He was down 20 plus CS for pretty much at least the first 10 minutes of the game, and now Human thinks fine, getting those item builds going and looking to take a tower.
I don't know why they think they're going to catch V.
Insect really wants him to die.
He's still got his taunt.
And it's Splash. And he's pretty tanky.
And he's Shen.
I don't know.
And that's Vladimir.
Well, they're going to give it a go. Insect going to keep chasing down and try and do some damage, but Huey now under siege as another taunt lands. Insect's like, yep, don't really fancy what's going on here. Bit of a wet noodle fight in the top lane, but Insect at least gaining some ground.
Slowly whittle him away. He does have really good flanking wards to make sure that when Swift decides to make his way down there to try to 2v1, that Insect will see it coming. We'll see if he decides to 2v1 or if King will make use of this information and pressure that mid lane.
They've got no pings down. Gragas actually roaming up, but Insect going to challenge Swift immediately. Pops the ultimate down on top of his face. Huey going to join in. Swift's forced to flash. The Hemo play pops. Ulti's really good. And Insect gets the alley-oop.
The max range knockback on that Gragas barrel. That is the best ultimate I've seen Huey hit all year.
Yeah, and we talked about his Gragas play, not something that inspired us so far, but that's certainly something that looks a lot better than his last few Gragas games. That was an inspired ultimate as King. We're going to see just tower. Insect rotates in. Swift is dead. This will be an easy take for them.
But where do they go from here? Dragon will be spawning in 1 minute 30 seconds, so we should see them kind of look towards their side waves, reset the rest of the map, make their back, and start setting up for another Dragon.
Seems like Korn is going for that Trinity Force as well, so has the Fade in his inventory, just had a Hex Drinker for, I guess, a bit of help in the lane. Sort of weird, given that I assume he's challenging Vayne or Shen most of the time in a side wave, but Korn is really sticking to the mid lane and not doing that much split pushing. That's Insect's job, it feels like, in this game.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the identity as well as the team. I talked about earlier how, Korn, he was kind of experimenting, with some Twisted Fate picks, but he could just never get the the split push going for him. Even when he itemized Lichbane first to be able to kind of shred through those turrets. When then they give the power and the responsibility of split pushing and playing with pressure to Insect, they find a lot more success.
Yeah, it's just a matter of King. Can they keep this up? Insect's been a nuisance in the top lane as he goes back. It's a needlessly large rod to join that Abyssal Scepter and the Hextech Revolver. And Nama is just trimming waves in the bottom lane, trying to set up for this Dragon.
In 6 seconds, the last Dragon did go over to Xiaogu with a nice steal from Doinby, and this has really been the Doinby show on the side of Xiaogu. 4, 1, and 2 has a... he's only upgraded his Hex score once.
Yeah, he's getting there.
Because more importantly, though, he has his CDR, and I like the Furor boots.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I suspect that he has an evolution point into his Q, just to kind of empower him even further, although I'll have to see him laser.
Swift.
See where he's got it.
Swift got the Scuttle Crab. With a spear.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
He better. He's got tier needless. Oh, the confidence. Nami's like, I don't care.
Yeah, start the Dragon.
Watch
gonna
me.
Come in as well. That's why we're doing good damage here.
Huey's not
actually
even...
He's getting the smite range. Don't be looking for another steal. Won't get it this time. Huey will claim that one.
So the reason Gragas was positioned right there, because obviously you can shred through it with Yasuo and Sivir well enough, is he's just there as a zoning tool, threatening with the cast as opposed to a smiting tool, but now quickly trying to get back in position for this mid-tier tower.
You can see QG actually pinging towards the top lane. V's been doing good work, and King will get cut off from that section of the map. Insect will try and do something about it, but I don't think they have vision of the rest of QG coming in, which means that this defense is going to be pretty tricky on this turret. In fact, it's already dead.
Just great play right there from Qiao to trade a second-tier tower for effectively second dragon for King. More than worth.
Yes, we talk a lot about standing versus, gold versus non-gold objectives and standing gold, and that was an example of QG just taking at least the gold trade there. And you can see their lead starting to spring up a bit more now, 3,000 to 4,000 gold ahead for them.
And the big difference, of course, is going to be the towers providing global gold. Now, the dragons do give what I like to call invisible gold, just because they do guarantee stats, and every stat value does have a gold value associated with it in the game. But second dragon is in what bonus damage to towers?
Yeah.
Versus the control, especially at the top side of the map.
Can help Insect sweet split pushing. He needs it. Actually has Merc Treads there as well, so...
The mad Vladimir chip.
Yeah, Insect, he's not left the top lane, it felt like. Actually left for the dragon fight.
That much farther. It effectively slows down his split push because he goes that much farther to push it.
You can see the two wards there in that lane for QG. They'll spot Insect in pretty much every section of that lane, even if they don't have minions pushed up there. So Insect being kept very well controlled by QG as Nidalee gone back and got herself a Zhonya's. Doinby got himself a Death Cap and a static shift now for TNT. Things are looking good for the QG carries.
Xiaogu need to start putting themselves in a position to siege because that's where their composition is really going to thrive. Now, Vayne isn't known as a sieging AD carry. Of course, she's going to be empowered with the steroid attack speed that Primal Surge from Nidalee is going to come through. But more importantly, the poke between Victor Laser and Nidalee Spear is absolutely absurd with these items.
Yeah, it's part of the reason I like the Yasuo pick here from King. It's just like, nope, no siege for you.
Windwall.
Yeah, Windwall's a pretty good take.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Next time Windwall?
Yeah.
Ooh, Huey, down TCT. Battle slowed down. Ulti, not good that time. Huey, I trusted you. Oh, actually, he's in trouble now. TNT, that was a fail flash.
Where is he going?
Don't know what's happening. Name's popped his ulti. Huey dead, though. Poor Huey. His team ran away from him.
It was pretty cute, though. Doinby, they saw the mistake that Huey made positionally just because he completely ran away from his team. Name even popped the On the Hunt to try to help him reposition. And Doinby just set down the gravitational field like, you're not going anywhere.
Well, now they're going to lose the Baron as a result by the looks of things because they don't have a smite. Doinby actually going to get ulted there by Comedy. Eats an exhaust. Insect charging into the back. It's a 4-man Hemo play. Korn kiting V away there as he's dove in, but the ultimate from Brom is nice. TCT going to get low, but no deaths to 0. Just slays TCT with his Ignite.
It was a beautiful 4-man Hemo Plague onto the backline, but the problem was that Name was zoned out of the fight. We talked about how Sivir empowers Vladimir to help make those flanking plays, but Vladimir also empowers Sivir because of the AoE ricochet damage that can be applied on the Hemo Plague, but if that never happens, you lose a major damage source. So great job from Xiaogu to kind of minimize the impact of that fight.
And I feel like something you pointed out already in this game, just the lack of hard CC from King there. Maybe a Sejuani away from really locking down these team fights, but instead, they just sort of have to see what they can stitch together. And King certainly have unique champion pools across the board. Insec is wild and crazy, and Korn certainly has his own personal champion pool as well, and might be hurting him in this draft here because they have not been able to crack QG.
I feel like anytime we use the word unique, it's never in a positive light.
See, I like Insec and Korn's champion pools. I think they're cool, but...
You're a Yasuo player.
Also true, as he does have his Trinity Force, just to keep check there. QG, they're up 4,000 gold. Everyone else getting stronger. Doinby absolutely absurdly powerful at this point in the game. And like you keep saying, King in a 5v5 seems like struggle street as far as their actual team fighting goes. They have to really make sure they combine everything nicely together. They're like a Rylai's away from maybe doing something. And Insect not interested in that item at all.
It's pretty cute how Doinby decided to upgrade his Oracle's trinket. A lot of mid laners, especially control mages, will upgrade their yellow trinket so they can have 3 wards. It's almost like a pseudo sight zone. But the fact that, again, Victor has so much presence and danger ulting over walls to make sure that he's standing in a place that isn't warded so he can set up traps like that is kind of the thinking there. And it's a cute little
kind of tells you a lot about Doinby
personality.
As a player as well, yeah. Just wants to snipe people over walls as Victor.
I just want to murder people.
That is Doinby.
I could ward for my team, but I really just want to murder them.
I've never heard Doinby speak. I'm assuming his voice is a very similar pitch and tone to yours.
You think my hair is crazy?
Yeah,
seen Doinby's hair?
Doinby's hair is absolutely tremendous.
But the thing is, speaking of Doinby, like at the start of the split, he was a Morgana player, a Lulu player. We called him the supportive style mid laner. He effectively had one of the highest kill participations of any mid laner because he would just pseudo-support Swift, follow him around, you know, make these crazy roams on immobile champions like Morgana, and now showing up, playing the Victor. Now the Control Mage era has done wonders for him. We'll see if he continues to have his presence, you know, as things start to trend more towards assassin play, but Doinby stepping up and, you know, showing why Xiaogu are a top-tier team. They can carry from the jungle position, from the mid position, from the AD carry, and even from the top.
Yep, from the top as well as V. On Shen this time, a bit more of a tank. He's got a Thornmail actually, and he's just been hammering minions in the bottom half of the map as Nami eats a spear there from Swift. In fact, he's weaving in for another one. Will miss the second, but Dragon up in 5 seconds means that QG are the first to the area.
And look at all of those traps already set up.
Well, King instead going to try and respond over to the left side of the map and pressure onto Baron, but QG like, we can see you, and King's going to start Baron.
This is a little bit risky, especially in a small confined area against Victor.
Well, they'll pull away.
Yep.
Looks for a fight, but Insect's already chunked out there.
Yep.
Sand United there coming in. TCT does get Nami actually now. TCT going to dive his way in, going to take a bit of poke there, gets ulted out as Insect. 1v5 kind of in the backline. Doinby will get ulted by Korn. They'll try and chase him away. Zero somehow still living as Doinby getting low, but he will go down finally to Huey, and Korn cutting wonderfully around his own win wall. King have split them up and they've managed to win a fight. 3 for 1 so far. V maybe going to be the next as TNT condemns Korn away. That was chaotic, but King somehow wins.
I'm going to give that to Zero. That was incredible. So Insect walks into the backline, is able to distract half a Xiaogu long enough through the Janna shield, the Monsoon, as well as the Hourglass. But hold on, he's in the pit.
Come on, Baron, very powerful, takes him away. And they have to leave. They actually don't have a smite regardless. Huey was the only one to die before Korn in that last fight. And we'll reset once again.
Well, when you run a... How many threats do they have? A quadruple threat composition with a Vladimir, Yasuo, Sivir, Gragas. And if you're just playing skirmishes as opposed to a full 5v5, chances are that you're going to skirmish pretty well. Yeah. Here we go. We've got the replay. Now, what I find curious here is when Insect just kind of wanders up into the backline. And again, we talked about how typically when you see a Vladimir coming, you can just walk away from him. Well, TNT decides to kind of flash on top of him. Insect stalls this out long enough with the pool. He's then going to go straight to his Zanya's Hourglass. And then Zero sets up for the ultimate and the, the tornado there. But what you're seeing is the fact that Xiaogu just split. Didn't concentrate any of their damage, didn't peel for their Vayne, and it becomes, instead of a 5v5, kind of a 3v2 Insect with the 1v4 for 10 seconds.
Yeah, he even used his ultimate to start a fight there as well, so he was all in with only normal spells, but made it work. King, unfortunately, couldn't convert that into enough pressure for Baron. Didn't have lanes to push either, with Sidewaves not really being there for them. And instead, we'll have a reset around the pit as King sitting on top of a pink ward. 2 pink wards, actually. Oh, never mind. There's a ward. Good ward from QG. It's going to see King starting this Baron.
They swapped it. There they go.
Very good.
Swift's really chunked.
Getting low. Ultimate to pop there by Nami. Insect wants it.
Flash.
Gonna get him. Run straight on top of him. Nami actually going to get that kill. Now TCT has to run away. King's damage starting to really ramp up here, it feels like.
V, meanwhile, though, didn't commit to that team fight. Or he did have the Stand United, available to him as well as teleport. So Xiaogu. Oh, he's actually coming in.
Yeah, porting now. Insect trying to zone them away. Not on Baron for damage. Zero actually ulting to reset. Does quite a bit of healing as they'll pull off and go back in. Huey gets the ultimate. A massive 3-man last breath. Puts Korn into the side of them. Now TCT going to get shredded as V trying to do work there. Does take out Name and Zero as Insect gets himself a double. And V going to get chased away. Just gets tagged by the barrel as Insect gets him with a Q. Not a whole lot of CC left, but V doesn't have very many places to run to. We'll get over the top. They'll flash over just to ensure the kill. And they'll lock down the ace.
So again, King finding the better of these situations, but I feel like Xiaogu effectively aren't playing their composition very well. That said, a massive ultimate from Huey. We talked about how Rek'Sai was really his only statistically relevant champion of when they find success, but so far this game, maybe the week off did him some good to his Gragas play. He's hit 3 really impressive ults.
Yeah, and that is one of the things they can do in a team fight. You talked about the lack of CC there for King. Korn Huey is one of the few combos they actually have in this comp, and they used it very well there to secure the team fight victory after picking off Swift. Swift, though, has respawned. He's back alive, able to make sure King don't get themselves onto the Baron. And we'll reset once again as QG, despite the 2 team fight losses, are actually still ahead 2,000 gold.
The big priority for Xiaogu right now is clearing out all of this vision on the Baron side as we watch Korn impressively clear those creeps.
Swift impressively clears the crab there as well. Gets his team a bit of unsweepable vision for a short while. But King, I think they've kind of given up on the Baron dance. They realize, you know what? We were getting very much out of this. Baron killed Korn. They're a little hurt about all that. So Insec instead, going to go back to split.
But it's surprisingly working out for them, and it shouldn't. Like, yeah, we've got a lot of AoE from both these compositions, mainly in the form of kind of Doinby for Xiaogu as well as the Shin presence versus, you know, the Hemo Plague, Sivir Ricochet bounce from King. But I would still be terrified to try to attempt a Baron against a Victor just because of the spread of his Chaos Storm, the control of his gravitational field. But King, it's working out.
Yeah, they've kind of used it as a bait, and Doinby has not been able to get in range to use his ultimate and his other short to mid-range tools effectively as Insec. Still pressuring on the bottom side. Seems like he is actually going for a Rylai's. It's not the new Rylai's either. We are on 5.12, not the current live patch with all the juicy new AP items. So just needs a bit of extra control. Realize that, you know what, my team needs some sort of CC.
And he gets, you know, a lot of usable stats off of that. The health on Vladimir's passive.
Yeah, strong item there on Vlad. So I like that Insect's going for it, particularly in this composition as King. Still lining some things up here, trying to figure out, again, how do they win the game? We talked about it a lot. King went ahead, looked great, but went behind, do stumble around a bit. And this is a game where they're trying to sort of, not fumble, but sort of carefully go through it, make sure they can get themselves back into the game and back into a winning position.
Xiaogu being very respectful, though, trying to buy time for V as Insec has committed himself to that bottom lane. Does have the teleport available. Likewise, V has the Stand United available, so both teams can play opposite the map of Baron.
As well. Going to line it up. They're actually ultimate will get popped. They're going to try and go for a
Good
fall
flash.
before they get TCT. He ultimates away there for Braum, but he will go down to Name. Really good pick there from King.
We'll see if they're able to do anything with it now. It was the Braum ultimate. That's pretty big for the disengage, but King...
Huey condemned into a wall. Doinby eats a little bit of poke, but still fairly strong. Zero going to reset them. Good wind wall to block some of that poke coming in. And King, again, they've got a kill, but what can they do with it? This has been the big thing. They've been winning fights, they've been getting picks, but they have not converted into recent objectives.
I feel like even the fights that they've been winning, though, it still hasn't been a true 5v5. All 10 players have been in the area, but Xiaogu just making positional errors to their comp. But here we go.
Doinby just wants it. Baron's getting low. They're going to try and wind wall them out. Korn gets knocked up. Vee going to dive his way into the fight. Can they get the Baron? It seems like they can. Insect's going to zone out Doinby, actually. Now TNT going to get zoned. Huey will give his team the Baron. Insect is somehow still alive after all this. Now Korn going to get the kill onto Swift and King. They get the Baron and 2 kills.
Insec is zoning out the entirety of Xiaogu, just Wing into the back line and doing massive damage to TNT, and Vayne can't get up close and personal. You have 2 mid-range threats in Vayne and Victor. And yeah, Doinby sets his Chaos Storm right outside the Baron pit, so King needs to choose. You know, either we walk through the Chaos Storm, take all of that damage, or we sit and we eat the Baron. But the problem is Xiaogu's not following up on that decision. V was the only person to enter the pit.
And got killed eventually, as King were able to just do all their damage 5v1 against him. I agree, Insect at 7-2-5 is having a spectacular game on Vladimir. King get the Baron, they get some kills. And you know what? They're going to get their 3rd dragon for their trouble as well.
As well as the tower, so great little run here from King to take advantage over their, last 3 to 4 team fight successes.
Yep, and finally actually get a gold lead as a result. 2,000 gold ahead now for King. It's just a matter of, is it enough? Name's pushing down the bottom side. King have looked, again, good one ahead and not so good one behind. Were behind slightly, but finally got themselves back ahead. So what does it look like now for them? That's my question.
Well, so far it looks like a free 2nd tier bottom tower. We'll see if they're able to crack the inhibitor with this Baron. Doubt it.
Gonna back here. Insect, win wall down. Insect actually completed his back. He's like, yeah, I'm leaving. What do you guys want? But I have a Rylai's to go get. Finishes that up for himself. Swift checks into the dragon there as well, but we'll see it, that's already been taken away. QG will push these waves out, and King, they're plotting the next move. It looks like they're going to try and push down something.
And the reason why you see all those pings to the top tier tower is because it's the next easiest objective to siege. Likewise, they do need to take care of this massive wave on the top lane that Insect's going to easily clear.
God.
It's it's the last standing outer turret. From there, the next priority would be taking that mid lane inhibitor or the bot lane inhibitor. So again, it's now going to be a question of if Xiaogu make a massive mistake defending this tower, what will it translate into more, or if they're able to kind of slow down the siege of King and try to reset this game.
King's siege, sort of like QG's, unlike QG's, is actually not that
really
good.
Yeah, I mean, they have Sivir.
Yeah, Yasuo is okay, Gragas is okay. Like, they have tools for a siege, but it's not, Nidalee Victor.
Yeah, but it's also how Nidalee and...
Swift getting jumped on.
Popped.
Huey goes in as Name just crits him for the kill. That's a nice pick there for King. And Insect, he's just diving in. They want Domi. He gets shredded as Name just tears through him with a Hemo Plague on top of him. And Insect's not done. He'll keep diving in. Korn, who's very late to the party, is going to dive his way in. Insect dives another turret, pops his Zonya's. Korn going to dive in there. Doesn't get his ultimate though as he's CC'd up by Braum, but QG just flashing out from here. Ultimate comes in. Korn will take out TNT. And King brute force their way into the base.
They just dove 4 turrets. That was absurd. Remember how we talked about Xiaogu making a mistake trying to hold this tower? That's exactly what I was talking about. If they died right there, it meant an inhib.
And Baron buff drops, but King are able to get themselves that inhibitor tower. Inhib, should fall soon now as well, and does. King, we talked about it, only took about 1,000 gold ahead in one team fight, but they might just end the game on the spot.
You have Shen up.
Korn's trying to go in. V getting CC'd away. Shen will get the kill onto Name. Ultimate use there onto V. Fairly tanky though as Korn pops down the window, although they will have to back off from this one. Swift eats a tornado, and the rest of King will escape. Name down means they can't quite finish the game.
But that is a massive error on the side of Xiaogu. Swift getting caught out, walking in front of his tower. Teleport comes through. V's looking on the hunt.
Yeah, he's got his home guard, but King should be able to disengage from this. V.
Secret.
His team's not even here.
Man.
Yeah, here he comes. Korn sees him. He's like, how'd you get here?
Get in there.
Well,
You committed. Get in there.
I mean, he has to. He does get the taunt down. Swift will join in as well. Good win wall, though, from Korn. Going to try and pull off the 1v2. Gets a Zonya's out of Swift, but Insect's rejoined. Teleports his way back in. The Chaos Storm down, though. Doinby, a massive threat here as Insect pulls away from some of the damage. They'll knock him off, but Korn's not in range to ultimate. Does get the 2-man knockoff. Takes out Doinby. Doinby gets low. He needs to die. Can't quite get it despite all the shields. And QG fire back.
With a clean ace across from King. Fantastic AoE spread from Doinby. Great moves from Swift as well. Power of Shin, that chase potential.
That was 4v4 there as well. TNT could not contribute damage. He was off a respawn. I think Name does come back. He's going to push out the waves, but sees 4 members top. Going to need to respond to that. And King going to lose the same inhibitor by the looks of things.
Even out the power push. Likewise, it wasn't only because they had kind of a small wave on that side of the map, but again, by taking this inhib, it means that they don't have to worry about such a big pressure point created on their top side of the map.
And V, hero play there on the Shen. Just buying time more than anything else. Insect came back, thought he could get some work done with his own teleport, but the rest of QG caught up first. They got the kills they needed, and you can see Doinby was at 2 fights now where he couldn't get any work done. When he does get into position, boy, does he carry.
Power of late game Victor. Likewise, the power of late game Shin. We talked about, Shin saw some recent changes coming into 5.12 with the taunt energy cooldown decrease. Now, obviously, level 18 has all his max points and all of his abilities, so able to get off this multiple CC chains.
And it's just looked good here for QG ever since that last little fight. They'll get the gold closer back to even. It's about 2,000 between the two teams now, with King still having that lead.
It's so satisfying to watch Vladimir farm.
Yeah, every time I see Insect hit E, there's like literally 15 numbers that pop out of his body, all in yellow. He just gets so much gold.
Confirm or deny this for me, Pastry Time. The reason why Vladimir has black stuff as opposed to blood is that you can't have blood showing in games in China?
Yes, I believe that's why.
Yes.
So if you're wondering why Insect looks a little strange, popping out goop sort of blood.
I like to call it ink.
Yeah.
Likewise, Karthus had a different picture in the game for a very long time.
Karthus was close to unrecognizable.
Yeah, because it's bad luck to show skeletons or the face of the skull.
Yep.
Fun facts.
Yeah, a bit of fun Chinese trivia. It feels like we've normalized some of the splash shots now.
Yeah.
They all seem a little bit more common.
Graves still has a cigar.
He does.
In China.
Tut is Korn.
How's that make you feel, eh?
Probably pretty bad. They like their Grave cigar. As we do see some vision being cleared up by King. Baron is up in 10 seconds. Dragon literally a second behind it as far as respawns go. And V, he's really annoying. I don't know how he's continually this far pushed up in the bottom lane, but he has done this so many times this game.
He's unkillable. Look at his items. That is a Trinity Force, Spirit Visage, Sunfire, Thornmail, Shin with Stand United available.
I don't know if I just want to lose my base, though, which seems like what might be happening. Korn gets knocked up. That's not a good look. Zero actually gets chunked out there as well. Baron does go over to King. Needs to look for a fight. TNT!
Oh my god.
Gets absolutely massacred as Name comes in. Ultimate out from Braum is good. Doinby, though, Zonya's is through the Hemo play, but Vladimir gets a double kill. V's going to go down there as well, and King, another spectacular team fight. they're going to win it up 4-1. Swift got owned. And Name gets the triple.
That is a 1-for-5 clean sweep from King right there. Another beautiful Huey ultimate into the final breath of Yasuo. Just an insane wombo combo. And King, I think they just won the game.
Yeah, game's over. 30 seconds left on anyone else from QG. Can't defend all this damage. And King, behind there in the mid game, honestly, after QG played it really well, managed to come from behind and win it. It wasn't a massive deficit, I'll give you that, but still impressive to see a team hold on and execute late game team fights that well.
This is the last place LPL team, tied with World Elite for the very bottom tier of the standings, beating Xiaogu.
Not anymore. A point up now, at least, here in this series. And the real question is, can they get to us? Doing